And back to another album review. I know that Mr. Ranter made a complete ass of himself by saying some stupid shit on YouTube and Twitter this past weekend, but that's a different story considering the fact that he burned the bridges to everyone he was ever associated with. Anyways, this is a review that I've been wanting to do because today's review is on And Stuff by Psychostick. I've already reviewed both of Psychostick's EPs as well as all their studio albums. Well, this is going to be different because And Stuff is Psychostick's first compilation album. In fact, it consists entirely of B-sides, rarities, covers, mashups, and other cool shit like that. Songs were recorded between 2003 and I believe 2021. Granted, some of the songs were released as singles years ago, but we'll get back to this later. I knew that Psychostick would eventually release a compilation album, and that's exactly what happened. You know, as I was expecting them to release a new studio album, a compilation album was good too. The album was self-produced and Josh Key did the mixing, as always. The artwork was done by Patrick Murphy and Rob Kersey. The album was announced via a live stream on February 24th of this year, and Psychostick started taking pre-orders. The album was released on April 14th of this year, so a week ago at the time of me uploading this video. What's really awesome is that people who pre-ordered the album received a signed poster along with the album. Just give me a minute. Here it is. I got my poster right here. I should really get this framed at some point. Now, anyways, the back of the jewel case says that songs 25 through 30 are bonus tracks. And something else I was going to show. And there's one page of the booklet that has usernames of some of the people who donated money to Psychostick through Twitch. Notable examples include Moose Campbell, AssClown69, Air Taco, ActionNet, and Butt Penis Wiener Nipple. Psychostick even thanks some of their Twitch friends, one of whom is Jason Paradise, and I'm actually subscribed to him on YouTube. Now, I mentioned past that a month before this album was released. My dad did an interview with Rob Kersey, and Rob brought up this album during the interview. I'll leave a link to the interview in the description in case you haven't listened to it. Anyways, this is the longest album that Psychostick have made so far, at just under 80 minutes. I mean, it's longer than Sandwich by about 4 minutes. Speaking of which, let's talk about the songs. The song starts with a foreword from Patrick Stewart. There's a catch to this because it's not the real Patrick Stewart doing a voiceover. It's an impersonator, and a really good one at that. Now, as you can see, the asterisk indicates that it was actually an impersonator. The reason why they had an impersonator in the studio was to minimize costs, which is understandable if you think about it. There are actually two impersonators, Christopher Romance and Caddy Donnelly. So this is a good way to start the album, and there's more coming up. After that is The Song Is Worth $50. The song was released as a single on April 1st, 2014 as an April Fool's joke in order to promote for Revenge of the Vengeance. The joke is that Psychostick intentionally made a crappy song that they claimed was worth $50. What's funny is that there's one part where Alex Dontre plays guitar poorly. Whether or not he did that on purpose, it was still pretty damn funny. There was a music video that was made, and I'll post a link to it in the description. It's fair to say this was a B-side from For Revenge of the Vengeance, given the fact that it never made it onto that album. But at least it ended up on this album. Up next is Ghostbuster. This was released as a single on October 25th, 2021. It's sort of a cover of the Ghostbusters theme song, but done the style of Sepultura. So it was essentially a mashup. It even features Jason Halleck on guest drums. Jake McReynolds and Jimmy Grant contributed to the concept. Psychostick said that they originally recorded a demo of the song in 2008, and it wasn't until 2021 when they decided to finish it. I think they absolutely killed it with this mashup. That's followed by Let's Do the Sex. The song is rather dirty when it comes to the lyrics, in case the title didn't already give that away. Next song is called Melodrama Medley. It is the second longest song on the album at 5 minutes and 52 seconds long. You follow up with Headstrong. It's the shortest track on the album at only 25 seconds long. After that is Gaslight Projection. It's a skit about not wanting to be gaslighted. It's also the first of 2 skits on this album. Up next is Jameson Love Song. The title is similar to a Jägermeister love song from We Couldn't Think of a Title. However, the song is about Jameson instead of Jägermeister. On top of that, this is one of the few songs that Psychostick have made that's fully acoustic. A music video was made, and I'll post a link to it in the description. The next song is called Bill Nye. This is a cover of the theme song for Bill Nye the Science Guy. I used to watch that show when I was in elementary school and middle school. What the Psychostick decided to do is what they do best: metal the shit out of it. A music video was made, and I'll include a link in the description. It's also the second shortest song on the album at 30 seconds long. That's followed up by Reading Rainbow. This is a cover of the theme song for the PBS show Reading Rainbow. And I used to watch that show when I was a kid. Once again, Psychostick decided to metal the shit out of the theme song. I'm also going to include a link to the music video in the description. Up next is the Doom Song. This is a cover of the Doom song from the Nickelodeon show Invader Zim, which I personally think is one of the greatest Nickelodeon shows of all time. It's really awesome that Psychostick decided to cover this song, and it's metal as fuck. I'm also going to include a link to the music video in the description. After that is Star Trek. It's basically a metal cover of the Star Trek Next Generation theme song, which I think is pretty awesome. Next song is called Galaxy Song. It's a song about the Milky Way galaxy. The song was released as a single on September 13th, 2021. And Psychostick regularly play it during live streams and live shows. We followed up with Mega Man. The song about Mega Man, though it's a parody of a song called Magic Man. It's also the first time Psychostick touched upon the music genre that is Nintendo core. I may actually review material from certain Nintendo core bands at some point. Anyways, the song was released as a single on November 4th, 2015. And I'll include a link to the music video in the description. Next song is called AVGN. It's a metal cover of the theme song to The Angry Video Game Nerd. I've actually been watching AVGN for over a decade, despite the fact that James Rolfe has been doing the show since 2004. And I think it's really awesome how he's good friends with the guys from Psychostick. The cover was recorded and released as a single in 2019. There is a music video, and though it has been used as the intro for a few AVGN episodes. And I'll include a link to it in the description. That's followed by Toe Jam and Earl. As the title implies, it's a metal cover of the theme song for the Sega game Toe Jam and Earl. After that is Talk About Not Talking About Food. The second and final skit on this album, and it's about not talking about food. Right, so there are dozens of songs that Psychostick have made that are about food. Nearly half of the songs on the album Sandwich are food related. Speaking of which, the next song is called Chimichanga. Of course, it's a song all about chimichangas, because Psychostick didn't already have enough songs about food, let alone Mexican food. I mean, come on, who doesn't like chimichangas? Now, the song was released as a single on May 5th, 2020, so it's 2 years old at the time of me making this video. Up next is Eating an Entire Pizza by Myself, the song that Matty Resnick wrote about eating an entire pizza by himself. was funny that Psychostick pointed out that Matty was completely sober when he wrote the song, and I believe it. And I'm going to include a link to the music video in the description. And we followed up with Mi Queso. Yeah, it's another food-related song. And it's a parody of the song Loco by Coal Chamber. You know, a great band, by the way. Speaking of which, the song was recorded in 2019 and was released as a single on November 2nd of that year. I'll include a link to the music video in the description. It says The Sombrero Prophecy. This song is a B-side that was originally going to be on Sandwich, but never made it onto that album, presumably due to space limitations. Luckily, it appeared on this album, so we can all hear it. Psychostick do have a long track record of playing this song during live streams and live shows. That's followed up by Soap Around St. Patrick's Day. The song all about getting drunk on St. Patrick's Day. It's something that a lot of people do. And of all the songs on this album, this is the one that has the most use of the word fuck. The song was released as a single on May 8th, 2019. There was a music video that was made, and I'll post a link to it in the description. Up next is a reverse forward from Patrick Stewart. Just like the first track, this has a Patrick Stewart impersonator doing a voiceover. After that is outtakes. Following tradition, this is a collection of outtakes, and Psychostick always do this with their albums. It's also the longest track on the album at 6 minutes and 29 seconds long. Next three songs are Cock Block, I Song, and Tough Love. These are the songs that were on the digital appetizer. I'm not going to go into detail about the songs here because I already reviewed the digital appetizer. I'll include a link to my review of that EP in the description. Followed up with Orgasm Equals Love, live-ish MAF version. It's basically a live version of Orgasm Equals Love. I already talked about this album when I reviewed. We couldn't think of a title. That's followed up by Those Stupid Ifs. This was a B-side from We Couldn't Think of a Title. Even though the song never made it onto that album, it was released as a single by the band through a BitTorrent. It wasn't until And Stuff when it would finally appear on an album. This album ends with We Ran Out of CD Space again. It's a different version of We Ran Out of CD Space, which was the last song on Sandwich. Whereas that version had Rob playing acoustic guitar. The song has him play on a keyboard, which he has done during live streams and live shows. Since this album is relatively new, there's currently very little info on how it is done commercially. All I know is that it peaked on number 57 on the Billboard 200 and number 2 on the Billboard Comedy Albums. I have seen this album has been received very well from critics. As for my opinion on it, I think this is a great album overall. I knew that Psychostick would eventually release a compilation album at some point, and that's exactly what they did. I'm hoping that they'll release more compilations in the near future, as there are still songs of theirs that have not been released on albums at the time of me making this video. If you want a copy of this album for yourself, you can always buy it from Psychostick's web store or Bandcamp. I'll leave links to those in the description. Overall, I highly recommend this album. Now's the part where I question you. Have you listened to And Stuff? If so, what are your thoughts on it? What's your favorite song from it? Do you think Psychostick will release more compilations in the near future? And what kind of material are you expecting from Psychostick going forward? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell to notify future uploads. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another video.